and welcome back to another episode of Onboard Hospitality Coffee Break. I'm very excited today to be joined by Petra Hissink, Global Director of Sustainable Development at Heineken, to talk about sustainability and how Heineken is aiming to brew a better world. So hi Petra, how are you doing?
Hi April, and thanks, I hope you're well too.
So just to kick it off, could you just tell me a little bit about what Heineken has been working on recently?
Thank you. Yes, actually, we have been working at navigating the crisis, the pandemic, and building the future at the same time. And it is, of course, without a shadow of a doubt that the crisis have really left a big impact on Heineken as a business. And we have always been focusing, and we keep remaining focusing on three priorities. First, the health and safety of our own people. We really put everything in work to make them able to do their work safely, remote where possible, etc., etc. Our second priority was really supporting our customers and our suppliers. I think our Back the Bar initiative became very famous, and we were able to support outlet owners in 21 countries across the globe. And the third priority was really focusing on the continuity of our business, and that of course brought also focus on cost. But I said we were also building at the same time on our future. And actually we have launched the company's evergreen sustainable growth strategy. And within that, sustainability and responsible consumption is one of the 5 work streams. And building on that, we have launched April 22nd this year, our Brew a Better World 2030 strategy. And actually with this strategy, we're building on a very strong foundation, but we want to raise the bar in this decade of action. And so it will really increase our actions in environmental, social, and in the field of responsible consumption.
Okay, great. Thank you. Could you just tell me a bit more about Brew a Better World? So like what sustainable development goals does it address, and what have the biggest achievements been so far?
Yeah, great question, April. And I'm glad to tell that our Brew a Better World 2030 strategy is a framework built around 3 pillars: environmental sustainability, social sustainability, and responsible consumption. In total, we have 9 ambition areas. In environmental, for example, we have ambitions around decarbonizing. We have ambition around maximizing circularity, and we have a strong ambition around keeping the watersheds, the water basins around the breweries we operate in very healthy. We want to keep them healthy. On decarbonization, we are really targeting for net zero emissions in our own productions by 2030. But we are also aiming, and we are the first brewer actually committing to net zero in our value chain by 2040. We will do that by further reducing our energy demands, really improving efficiencies in our processes in the breweries, but also speeding up our transition to renewable energy. And it's important to tell, because we strongly believe in that our near-term 2030 targets are approved by the so-called science-based targets initiatives. And that means that it is approved actually that we are on a trajectory with our commitments to meet the 1.5 degree scenario aligned with the Paris Agreement. The SDGs that we are touching upon with the environmental pillar in the Brew a Better World strategy are SDGs 6 and 7 and 12. So this is about clean water and sanitation. It is about affordable clean energy, and this is about responsible consumption and production. And to call out some big achievements, which we are really proud of, it's important to know that already we have carried out in total 130 renewable energy projects. Some recent ones are a so-called virtual PPA in Europe, a wind park in Finland together with partners like Philips and Signify, which will actually enable 13 of our countries in Europe, our operations there, to turn into fully renewable electricity. Another recent one is solar power in a brewery of us in Nigeria. But we also work on other things like with packaging suppliers and logistics suppliers. We pilot certain things. So yeah, quite a large list of really big achievements there. If I move a little bit into the social pillar, which is also very important, we touch upon the Sustainable Development Goals 5 and 8. Of course, gender equality, that's SDG 5, and decent work and economic growth. And we really believe as Heineken that our business can only thrive if our people thrive and if the communities in which we operate in thrive. And I think it's a very good achievement already that we, since 2018, have inclusion and diversity very high on our agenda. We have established internally an ambassadors network of 100 I&D ambassadors across all our opcos and all our functions, also in the head office. And they can really work locally with local leadership on addressing local I&D topics, sometimes on cultural diversity, on race, on LHBTI, gender, so we can really tailor it in every country where we operate. We also have in our Brew a Better World 2030 clear external commitments related to inclusion and diversity. Internally, we want to increase the percentage of female leaders, and we also want to increase actually cultural diversity internally in the company. But as with environmental, we also have made ourselves some commitments related to the value chain. Heineken works across the globe with a lot of what we call third-party employers. And we want to be on a path to an inclusive and fair and equitable world. So we also set ourselves as a commitment that we want to guarantee proper working standards and fair wages for all these third-party employers and brand promoters that we work with around the world. So also some strong commitments, I think, in our social pillar. And then last, but certainly not least, our responsible consumption pillar. That is for Heineken really about giving our consumers a choice, being very transparent when it comes to information on the labels to our consumers. And there is really zero tolerance towards harmful consumption. And that brings us to a set of commitments also in this responsible consumption pillar. What we are already doing for years is spending 10% of the Heineken media budget across the globe on responsible consumption messaging. And I think everybody knows the when you drive, never drink promotion from Formula One, really responsible consumption messaging. We also really want to promote moderate consumption of alcohol, and of course our portfolio of 0.0 products, all the time growing, is helping us there. We really can offer now very tasty 0.0 and also low alcohol products to our consumer. Heineken 0.0 is already available in 95 markets at the moment. And so that is also, I think, an area where we already have made big achievements in the past, but we have made commitments towards 2030.
Cool, thank you. It sounds like you've got a really, really good set of like core values in your company there that many other companies would be, well, they should all follow it, shouldn't they? I think it's the way the world's going, and it's so essential now in this day and age. So it's really lovely to hear. So moving on from that, how do your sustainable initiatives impact your products? I know you just mentioned the the low-no beers and the low-alcohol beers, but is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think it influences our products going forward, and it will also influence our brands. But if I start on products, indeed, the development of our 0.0 product portfolio, but also the products, the packaging of products. So what you will see, and that you will see that across the food and beverage industry as a category, moving more and more to reusable and refillable packaging. And the carbon footprint of a reusable bottle, so a deposit bottle, is actually 7 times lower than the carbon footprint of a one-way glass bottle. So that is a shift that we have to make in the food and beverage industry for sure. What you also see that in brand communication, actually talking about sustainability or environmental or social will become more and more important as well. Already in the Netherlands, for example, since September 2019, we can actually include in our brand communication for the Heineken volume brewed for the domestic market that it is brewed and packaged with full renewable energy in the breweries in the Netherlands. The Sol brand is already brewed for 50 markets with full renewable electricity powered by the sun. You see that in Brazil, the Amstel brand spends 10% of their media budget really supporting the LGBTQIA+ community. And they have a fabulous campaign called I Am What I Am. So a lot of impacts on product and on brands. Another example I like really very much is Heineken UK, who actually replaced the plastic can holder, the famous O-rings, by a compostable carton can holder. So these kind of innovations you will see. Related to cruise lines, interesting for your audience, we will have a huge focus on improving PET recycling. We use the so-called blade kegs and brew locks, and we will always step up our game in being able to recycle these.
Okay, great, thank you. So just to sort of sum this up, what key trends in the beverage sector do you expect to see over the next few years?
Yeah, next to the trends I already mentioned with regards to moving to more reusable, refillable packaging, let me stress one more time the importance of moderation, consumers becoming more conscious about healthy propositions. So absolutely the whole portfolio of zero alcoholic and low alcoholic drinks will become more important, but also actually more sustainable point of sales materials. So instead of printing all these point of sale materials, I think the industry will shift where possible to more digital campaigns. So these are also, I think, part of the trends we will see. Greener events. We are piloting what we call green bar during Formula E sponsorship, but we are also now expanding that to Formula One sponsorship. Events where we have to move to recyclable cups or even better reusable cups. So greening events is also definitely a trend we will see going forward in the food and beverage industry. So lots to come related to the sustainability agenda, I think, in the food and beverage industry.